Dragon Ball Super has returned, and with it, the Pilaf gang has returned as well. So, I have brought on for today's video my good friend, Mark, aka Real to Real, and today we are going to be talking about whether or not it is a good idea for these guys to have so much screen time in this series. And if you guys haven't already heard him, as I said, it's Mark, the guy with the best laugh on YouTube. He's here as well, so go ahead and say what's up, man.
What's up, D-Free? What's up, everyone? Good to be here. Let's rip into these guys.
Yes, and I'm glad that you said my name because I totally skipped that. What is up, guys? My name is D-Free, and welcome back. Now, Mark, I just feel like I had to throw that in. You know, it's like a ritual, you know, I've got to say it. Now, Mark, the Pilaf gang is a gang that has been in the series, obviously, since its introduction. It's been a long time coming that, you know, they skipped the whole Dragon Ball Z portion of the show, and they're back within Dragon Ball Super. And honestly, they've done some significant things. You know, they've been around for the Battle of God stuff. They were there to help the Frieza gang, or Frieza army, with getting the Dragon Balls to resurrect Frieza, so they're actually directly the result of Frieza's reincarnation. What do you think about their characters being in this series here at this point? Do you think that it's a good idea that they've made this comeback into the show? Or are you of the mind, like a lot of fans are, that, hey, they're cool characters, but they're pretty annoying. They come in at the wrong times. They do stupid things. They try too hard. I think that's one of the things we talked about off camera. How do you feel about those characters, man?
I definitely think that they're kind of just products of basically being a part of those original two movies, and they've just kind of been thrown in there for one reason or another. You know, in the beginning in Battle of Gods and Fukatsu no F, they just kind of were thrown in there, like you said. Frieza came back, or they were kind of integral to pissing off Beerus and kind of revealing that Videl was pregnant. I mean, that kind of stuff had a significant impact in the movies. And because they took Super and they obviously, you know, decided to retell those stories, they decided, like, okay, well, these people need to be in there because they're funny. But I think sometime along the way, probably really early, they realized that Beerus and Whis and Jocko and all those other people are actually funnier than them. And if the Pilaf gang aren't funny, then there's no reason for them to be there. So that's why they were basically non-factors in the retelling. You know, they just kind of went and did their job and just were swept under the rug quicker than anything else.
Yeah, and they've also got a lot of significant screen time, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the weird thing. And obviously, they like, even though in the manga, then they didn't have a huge impact at all, really. They had a huge thing in the manga where you actually saw them going to the tournament with everyone else. They were in that queue, but they weren't there in the anime, which is weird in and of itself. I mean, like, why were they there? Did they have any significance whatsoever? Or they just wanted to draw, or Toyotaro just wanted to draw them in there? And obviously, they're bringing them back for this tournament, or this arc. And I don't really know why. I would say it's just because Toriyama decided that he wanted Mai to be in Future Trunks' timeline.
Yeah, that's what I was just actually thinking a moment ago, that it was like kind of like a setup for it, because let's just be real, it doesn't make sense for her to be young and be dating Trunks, whatever the case is, unless she's like super old and Trunks is dating her, or whatever the case is. I hope that's not the case, Trunks, man. Come on, please, bro. There's
just no other women in the future, man. It's like that desolate.
That's actually very true, though. That's actually pretty sad. But no, unless that's the case, I really don't see another reason as to why, and that would be very good foresight on his end, man. Like, even though, like, it doesn't make sense because that's a different Mai from a different timeline, you know, it's very good foresight in that, you know, they had a significant role and they wish that they were younger. Trunks in the Battle of God stuff is like, hey, you're my girlfriend. That follows through the Battle of God stuff, and then into the Resurrection F stuff where they play that significant role. And then we move into the tournament where, like you said, they're not really in the show, but they don't really need to be there anyway. They didn't need their comedy relief. That was more of like a arc that, in my opinion, took itself a little bit too seriously at times. But you move into what is now arc where they've got a character that's a part of their gang that's actually central, you know, and she's been promoted, and she's actually, spoiler alert, latest episode, she's not dead. God damn it, I don't think she was dead in the first place. But you know, they have a character who was a part of that gang initially, and she's actually playing, once again, a significant role. So it seems like they're going out of their way to put these characters in these positions, and the younger iterations from the past timeline are still kind of there trying to remain relevant, doing the comedy thing. And like you said, comedy is the only thing that they have going for them, and I completely agree. Characters like Jocko and even Monaka by that same vein, and Beerus and Whis, their varieties of comedy, it fits a lot more, whereas like the Pilaf gang, they're a lot more forced. They've got their own theme that comes in and it just completely kills the mood of the show, to be honest. In some instances, not all the time, sometimes their comedy is really good, but you know, for example, the math thing, I was just like, wait, what is this? Is this even comedy? Like, seriously, I was like, what is this, man? Like, they came in and explained how, you know, the orders work when you're doing math. You're supposed to do this before that, and I was like, seriously, I don't even think this is funny whatsoever. So I don't know what they're doing sometimes.
I feel like the one thing about their comedy is it's not like Beerus and Whis. It's not like Jocko and Bulma or even Monaka and almost everyone else. Is they have to play off of 3 people at once, and that's actually really hard. And one thing you realize is you got Pilaf and Shu, who really take up a brunt of the comedy, while Mai has always kind of been just kind of the straight man in the whole group. And that kind of works, especially works like this Three Stooges type of thing in Dragon Ball, but it doesn't work here. They figured out like there's this brand of comedy that really works with Super, and also there's like kind of dragging Dragon Ball and molding Dragon Ball with Dragon Ball Z to make something like Super. I think, like I said earlier, yeah, because they brought Mai back, I feel like that is exactly why they have to bring in the gang. They can't just bring in Mai and have her be relevant. Obviously, she's tethered to these other 2 characters, which is okay, but it does bring up the question. I mean, Toriyama obviously came back and wrote, and obviously it's looking more and more like this was his addition, that Trunks and Mai were boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's just the funniest joke in the freaking world to him that he wants to put it in both movies. But one thing I pointed out in one of my videos is it makes no sense. Like, I don't understand why they've taken this Trunks and Mai are boyfriend and girlfriend in the future and in the present timeline from the movies, when the rest of the series is we're going to reinterpret the movies and tell them the way that they were kind of meant to be told and seen in that sense, to get more out of them. And I'll have everyone know that Super completely wrote off that entire Trunks Mai relationship thing. It wasn't mentioned at all until episode 48 of the entire series, or 49 or whatever it was. It wasn't mentioned at all. There was no indication that these 2 knew each other or had any feelings towards each other. So,
well, they did do the Battle of God stuff. They did that whole scene from there too.
No, they didn't.
They didn't do that.
They did not do that. In Super, they didn't do. They just completely wrote it off. There was no Trunks is my boyfriend or this is my girlfriend or something, and everyone just kind of think they did that in the movies. And we talked about this before in the we talked about this before on this channel. Is, you know, there's no reason to reinterpret the movies if you're not going to reinterpret the whole thing. So obviously, I think Toriyama's come back, and there has to be a legitimate reason for Mai to be there. And this is kind of the same boat, because she's so tethered to these other characters. My weird, wacky, crazy theory is that Mai is evil.
God damn it, Mark, we're not doing this right now.
I know, but I mean, in terms of them being funny, I feel like I said, they're tethered together, so we're going to have them. They don't work in this context. That's just my real thing, is like they don't work in this context because Super has found that they play jokes better off of 2 people, not 3, and I think that's their biggest problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I want to turn the question over to you guys watching the video. Do you think that the Pilaf gang and their comedy, their style of comedy really fits the tone of Dragon Ball Super? That's the question I want to pose to you guys. Leave it down below, and I'll be sure to check it out, and Mark will too when he's stalking the video. Anyways, thanks for joining me, man. It was definitely a fun one. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yep, always gonna get into wacky theories, even if it's a non-wacky theory video.
We're not doing that, okay? We're not doing that shit in this video. That's why I was like, no, we're not gonna do this.
I know. I just wanted to bring it up. It's weird. Everyone just think about that for 1 second.
Yeah, hashtag Mai is evil. MAI, in case you guys didn't know. Hashtag MyZeve. Let's get that shit trending. But no, thanks for tuning in to the video. Subscribe if you're new. Be sure to check out Mark's channel. It will be linked in the description for you guys as well. That's it for us, guys. We'll see you next time, though. Peace out.
Bye.
Somebody was like, oh, man, how do you get all these girls? And I was like, I tweeted him a gif of an explosion. I was like, making too many of these.